Hey guys, how's it going? Dragox55 here, and I don't know why I said it like that, but anyways, today we're playing bees. Just kidding, we're showing off spiders in this deck recipe. Basically, spiders. Spiders is a deck where you get certain effects based around if your opponent's in defense or not. It's a very heavy deck, or it's a very weird deck that involves putting a lot of things in defense. So yeah, from what I remember when I was building this deck, I was told that this deck pretty much can stand up to pretty much anything other than like Judgment Dragon or something like that. So yeah, you guys can pretty much enjoy this a lot. So anyways, let me get into the deck recipe and we'll actually talk about some of the combos and stuff. So first off, we have two Beatron. Now, that's not a good start to a spider deck, but whatever. So anyways, you can send one face-up spell or trap, which you run tons of those in this deck. And you can special summon one level 4 or lower insect type from your graveyard in defense position. Now, since it's a spider deck, it doesn't really matter that it's in defense. It's actually pretty good. But also, a good thing about Beatron is just like any of the other kind of monsters like Wolfbark or something else, other randomness, you can basically go into a rank 4 right away. I know it says lower, but basically he's like a free rank 4, or you can bring back like Infernity Beetle and make a level 6 or something like that. It's pretty good. I wouldn't disagree with having it in this type of deck. In other types of decks that are insects, maybe not. Not sure if it works for Insectors if they equipped onto a monster, but I believe it might. Could be wrong though, so don't take my word on that, but yeah, two Beatrons. Two Earthbound Immortal Urus. Obviously he's a big spider. But he's also a 3000 attack point monster. Now, the thing you need to understand with Earthbounds is that they need to have a field spell just like Malefics. If you don't have a field spell, they destroy themselves. Of course, there's other ways of getting around this, like you can run a card that prevents them from doing that. But let's just, in this time for this deck, let's talk about how this will work out for you. So, anyways, so yeah, it needs a field spell, otherwise he blows himself up, just like Malefics. Your opponent can't attack this card. Or choose it as an attack target, I mean. This card can attack directly, but doesn't have to attack directly. So if your opponent has like an annoying monster on board like Jinzo, and you have like traps you want to activate, you could just attack Jinzo instead of attacking directly. Which usually you're just going to be attacking directly, but sometimes you really might want to take out an opponent's monster instead of attacking directly, just saying. Also, he's brought out by tributing summoning. I mean, there's other ways, but normally you have to tribute summon him, so keep that in mind when it comes to this deck or this card. So his main thing is, because other than that, those are all common things that Earthbounds can do. He can tribute a monster and take control of an opponent's monster until the end phase. So basically, he's like Change of Heart in a way, except you have to tribute a monster. Now the thing with this is, you can use a certain card by the name of Spider. Now Spider will keep bringing back monsters, and you can use Uru to keep getting rid of monsters. So you can keep stealing opponent's monsters, Exceed summoning and whatever. Another thing to keep in mind, you can't summon two Urus because you can only control one Uru at a time. So keep that in mind when you're doing something with this type of deck. So yeah, he's basically only in here because he's a big old spider. And he's also very super powerful. So one ground spider, not really that great of a card because of the fact that it has 0 attack and whatever, but he has a decent defense for spiders. Spiders aren't really high in defense, so obviously Uru being an exception, but yeah. So his thing is that if your opponent if you have a face-up defense position monster... Oh, my bad. If this card is in face-up defense, when your opponent normal summon or special summons a monster, you can change that monster to defense. Now, you might be like, why would I care about doing that? Well, there's other cards that benefit off of that, which is pretty nice, because if they normal summon and you switch into defense, then you can go, okay, well, I'm going to attack you with Mr. Spider and go get one of my cards back from the grave. Or you can use something else, I don't know. We'll get into more of the cards in a bit. But this card basically stops your opponent from summoning an attack. Not too much importance of this card, but you know, it stops like stuff that needs to be an attack for some reason. Also, it stops the bears that just randomly come in and like normal summon, blow up your monster, and then attack you directly, which is nice. It stops Fire Fist. And Tiger King whatever won't be able to stop this in time. So he would be mostly reliant on, well, maybe, not too sure. I haven't actually brought this card out too much, but he's in there to do stuff like that. I'm pretty sure he could stop Fire Fist, Lila's, the ones that blow up the back row, of course. He's just like very annoying when to opponent's monsters that just get summoned out. Trust me, he's really good. It's just you don't want to run too many of him because of his attack and defense. 3 Howling Insect, basically a big old searcher through the deck. Pretty nice. You can search out pretty much anything. The only things you might really want to search out for is either beetles or Pinchhopper. So yeah, that's pretty much the good thing to keep in mind. For anyone that doesn't know what Howling Insect does, he lets you special summon a insect type monster from your deck with 1500 or less attack. So pretty nice. Kind of like Mass Dragon, but lower stats, I believe. He might have higher defense, but you know, a must-have in this kind of deck. Infernity Beetle, not really great at 2. You could get away with 2, but not really great at 2. And you can synchro up, so yeah. 2 Mother Spiders, another spider that is a must-have. Basically, he's like Lava Golem. If Lava Golem, yeah, this is probably what I was trying to summon, but it didn't work out in the way I thought it did. Basically, you send 2 face-up defense position monsters your opponent controls, and you can special summon this card from your hand. So you get a 2300 beater, and you get rid of 2 of your opponent's monsters. And there's so many cards that put your opponent's monsters in defense that it's just so easy to just like bring this card out. Yeah, 2 face-up defense might be a lot to ask for, but in the long run, if you can get rid of 2 of your opponent's monsters, then hey, it's really worth it. 3 Pinchhoppers, pretty good of an insect actually. He basically lets you special summon out an insect from your hand. The only exceptions of when his effect doesn't go off is when a chain is still active, like if there's 3, 2, and 1, he can't activate. And also if you synchro summon with him, XYZ summon, well, obviously XYZ would stop it. But if you synchro or tribute summon, then he loses his effect, so be careful about that. But basically, Pinchhopper is so good that if he gets sent to the grave, you can bring out Mr. Earthbound Immortal Uru. You can bring out Mrs. Mother Spider, my bad. You could even bring out Traptrix Marmello, whatever. And, you know, when this card, well, I'll get into that card in a bit, but, you know. But you can get a 3000 point beater out, Jesus Louise. And it can attack directly. Your opponent can't attack it. You could take control of people's monsters, you know, it's like, Jesus Louise. It's like Relinquish on steroids. Except the fact that Relinquish is, we'll go into that topic one day. I was gonna say Relinquish is a little better, but you know, that's up for debate. Relinquish Spider, however, if you have 4 or more insects in your graveyard, you can tribute this card, destroy all face-up defense positions that your opponent controls. So basically, it's Raigeki if it only could work against defense position monsters. Now you might be like, 4 or more insects? That seems like a lot to ask for. However, it's not that much to ask for, and you do not want to run this more than 1. So I saw another variant where you just creature swap stuff and whatever with the spiders, but I think this one is a more kind of reliable build if you're playing single player, of course. If you're playing tag duels, it might not be that great, but hey, what do I know? I run gamble decks and fail. Anyways, Spider. Very creative. Anyways, so when this card destroys an opponent's monster in defense position, you can special summon an insect that's level 4 or lower. Now, what does that mean for you? Not only does Spider bring back an insect from the grave, but if your opponent has something that's higher attack, you bring like Pinchopper out, then Pinchopper attacks, and then you can bring out like Uru and then attack for game. Like, there's so many options you can do, is just ridiculous. You could even Spider. Hear me out here. You can Spider. Let me make sure this doesn't say defense. For your monster, I mean. Okay, so Spider, you get Beatron attack. Then next main phase 2, you Beatron effect. You can get well, whatever, I guess, whatever you feel like. And then Synchro, XYZ, whatever, all that good stuff. So, you know, this card is really good, and definitely in spiders, and especially when you have Solidarity out, it's really nice. You get a 2,300 beater out on the field, so yeah. And your opponent's just gonna set stuff in defense, and then you're like, I don't care, I'm just gonna attack you, Spider, and here we go. I got some more monsters. Swarm of Locusts, pretty nice. You could honestly take him out if you don't really care for him, but basically it's nice because he can go into face down defense and flip over and destroy stuff, just mostly for back row destruction. Just testing him out. I mean, it's like one of the kind of recommended things, but whatever. I just thought it was kind of cool too to have him in there. And this card, Trap Tricks Marmello. You can get Bottomless Trap Hole, or any hole card, but we play Bottomless. When this card is normal summon, you can do that. And when this card is special summon, you can destroy a back row card. So yeah, to be honest here, I rarely will draw out into Swarm or Locust or Trap Tricks Marmello. Actually, I've drawn into Marmello a lot more than Swarm and Locust. So just something to keep in mind if you're trying to rely on like back row destruction. So I mean, I'll show other things. I mean, I had to borrow a side deck because I am horrible at side decks. So yeah. One Allure Dark. Oh. Yeah, I talked about how it destroys a card if it's special summoned. Okay. Which is pretty nice because you can go Spider, bring out this one, destroy back row, yada yada. Also, you want to keep in mind, you want a full-on insect deck when you're doing stuff. Because if you go like, for example, put a Fiend in here or whatever, you will kind of ruin the flow of the deck. So, yeah. Just forgot to mention that they're all insects. One Allure Darkness, you can banish one dark monster. You can banish Uru if it's just there and taking up too much room. Beatrons, probably not, but Beatron you might want to. Locust is pretty nice to banish if, like, you know, if there's no back row and you need cards. And Mother Spider is another one. Infernity Beetle, I wouldn't recommend using it on though. Like, if you can avoid it, don't use it on Infernity Beetle, but if you really can't, then go ahead. Dark Hole destroys all monsters on the field. 2 MSTs, obviously you know what that does. 2 solidarities. If you have an original type of monster in your graveyard, all monsters that have the same type gain 800. Since everything in your deck other than your extra deck is all insects, you can basically get an 800 boost for each. No, not for each, but you get 800 boost to all your insect monsters, so pretty nice. 3 Spiderweb. Spiderweb is a little tricky of a card to, well, not really tricky to understand. It's a field spell that when a monster attacks, it's changed to defense and can't be changed until your next turn. How do I explain this? So you attack, you don't get to change the next turn, but the turn after the next turn. Basically, you don't get to change battle positions until the end of your next turn. I don't know why I couldn't just say that, but whatever. So, yeah, pretty annoying of a card, especially whatever. But you could get your opponent into a lock where you can summon Underground Arachnid, attack, and then Spiderweb would put him in defense. And then you would obviously protect Underground Arachnid with the equip card by destroying the equip card. And then you take your opponent's monster again, and you just keep defending Underground Arachnid like that. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Stumbling is a pretty nice card. Can get annoying if you use it at the wrong times. But basically, whenever someone summons something, it goes to defense. Enough said. Terraforming, just search out Spiderweb, I think it was, or yeah, Spiderweb. 3 Verdant Sanctuary. It's a searcher for insects. If an insect type monster is destroyed, you can add an insect type monster with the same level as a destroyed one from your deck to your hand. So if you have a howling insect destroyed, since it's level 3, you just add another level 3. So pretty nice. Bottomless trap hole, you know what that does. And also is in here because of the Batman, I don't know. 1 Compulse, bounces something back to the hand. Spider Egg is pretty nice. Basically, if your opponent tries to do a direct attack and you have to have 3 or more insects in the grave, you can negate that attack, like that direct attack, and special summon 3 spider tokens and attack position. So, pretty nice. And you might be like, what is the tokens for? You could either tribute them for Uru, or you can use him for Uru's effect, which is pretty nice too. So keep that in mind. Torrential Tribute is pretty nice. If someone summons, it just destroys all monsters, so pretty nice. So yeah, you kind of get the gist of how the deck goes, but let's go into the actual extra deck. I'm still working on it, so don't be surprised if it's not super great, but you know. So we have Cataster, because he's Cataster. Mostly these are just staple stuff, but here's a little interesting one. Red Dragon Archfiend. Because of the fact that your deck is a deck where you evolve around putting stuff in defense, something like Red Dragon Archfiend, where if it attacks, it can blow up every defense position monster, is not too bad to have in a deck. So usually I would never have Red Dragon Archfiend because he's not super great, but in this kind of deck, it just wrecks field, so yeah. 2 Underground Arachnid, pretty nice. He can attack, your opponent can't activate anything till the end of the damage step. You can activate monster effects, but not spells and traps, so basically he's like an Ancient Gear. And he can take control of your opponent's monster, which is pretty nice, and equip it to himself, of course, like Relinquish. Doesn't get a boost though. And if this card would be destroyed by battle, you can unequip the equipped monster. So, yeah. But it can only have one equipped at a time, so keep that in mind. Pretty good of a card, just a little tough to get out if you don't run this deck, so yeah, if you guys were curious about level 6s or something you can go into, this is a pretty nice one. But anyways, yeah. 2 of them because he's really good. Like, once you try him out, you'll realize how good he is. And honestly, this deck isn't tier 0 or anything, but it's still pretty good. Abyss Dweller, I don't know, I just started throwing in rank 4, so yeah, this rank 4s. Gauntlet Launcher is pretty nice that I've actually found out about recently. You could get 2 level 6s, so you can detach one, target a monster, and destroy it. Or you put Bouncer in here, I guess. Either way. But, you know, Gauntlet Launcher is pretty nice for right now. Obviously you're playing... Obviously this is nice to play. He equips stuff your opponent has and he gains attack equal to whatever attack and defense, and you can detach one XYZ inventory from this card. And wait, what? Once per turn, you can detach one XYZ from this card. Target one face-up card on each side of the field and send those targets to the... Oh, okay. I see. Stroke, because I like my strokes. This one was actually kind of recommended for this deck too. So basically, ignoring all those things, target 2 level 3 monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into your deck, and if you do, return this card from your graveyard to the extra deck. Oh, let me read that part. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, target 2. So when it's sent to the field to the graveyard, you recycle 2 level 3s. Now, you might be like, what the heck does that even have to do with this deck? Well, you run Howling Insects, and I think nope. You run Howling Insects, so you can recycle. Locust can be recycled, you know. It's not too bad of a card, actually. I mean, still looking around. Howling Insect getting recycled is pretty nice, but maybe his end mains if you don't like this. And Black Ship of Corn, because if you don't run Black Ship of Corn, you're doing something wrong. And the reason I say that is because of the fact that so many people are playing stally cards like Spirit Reapers and Marshmallons, that this card just deals with them and just gets it out of the way. Yeah, the way the guy put it, this is for Light Sworn to stop them. Honestly, is a spider looking card. Doom Dozer is pretty nice because he can banish 2 insects, and yeah, and this card can send the top card of the grave to the deck, or to the grave. There's also an ant card. I don't remember what it's called, Anteater or something. Let me look that up real quick. I mean, let's not make the video any longer, you know. Should be like one of these right away. Right there. This one's also pretty nice because you can send 2 and destroy stuff without... Like, this is pretty nice to have too if you rather have this. I mean, the other one's more like a beatdown kind of card. But this is also a pretty nice one if you want to... If you just have like Stumbling Spiderweb and they're just getting in the way. Pretty nice. And it blows up back row, so... You know, just another option that I pointed out. Flying Sea, if your opponent is going... I believe this one is Synchros. Oh, no, this stops XYZ summoning. Okay. So yeah, if you're... When your opponent normal summons or special summons, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand to the opponent's side of the field to face up defense. Your opponent... The controller of this card cannot XYZ. Pretty nice. Especially since we're in a thing where XYZing is a big thing. Maxi, obviously for special summoning, and keep in mind, except for this one, they're all insects. Mystical Space Typhoon, just in case if you need another one. You really don't. Spider's Lair. Ow. Spider's Lair, once per turn, you can select one face-up insect type monster you control. While this card remains on the field, any monsters that battles with this card battles with that monster is changed to defense at the end of the battle phase and cannot be changed. So, yeah, it's not that great of a card because, yeah, it's just not that great of a card. No entry is alright. Not the greatest, but definitely alright. I mean, if you don't really care for Spider Egg, you can switch it out, honestly. Royal Decrees, if your opponent... And there's so many people playing 60 card decks, so you cannot tell me you would not play Royal Decree in this deck. But, you know, there are so many people running like 50 billion traps that Royal Decree helps. And since the fact that you only run 5 traps in here, Royal Decree doesn't hurt you at all, so... And Vanity's Emptiness, just in case your opponent's special summoning like a madman. So what do I rate this deck? Well, this deck is actually really well built. I like an 8 out of 10, 8.5. But let's just give it a 9. A 9 is actually really nice. I mean, it does what it's supposed to do. It's fun to use. It's definitely not a tier 0 deck or anything like that. But it's a deck that you don't want to underestimate. Because if you start doubting this deck, like, oh, it's not going to do anything that great, that's when it starts like beating people down and stuff. And it's also one of those other decks that you don't see a lot of people running, so they don't really know how to prepare for this. So they're like, okay, well, they might see Howling Insect, and then you bring out like Pinch Hopper, and they'll be like, okay. Like, they'll be confused, just like how Penguins are, where your opponent won't know how to deal with Penguins at first, but then they'll be like, oh, okay, so... Okay, we're not talking about Penguins now, but you get the point. Things you can watch out for, obviously, Judgment Dragons and high destruction based cards. Keep in mind about stumbling. Stumbling can get in your way very quickly. And Spiderweb. Apparently, during a duel, if you attack and you get rid of Spiderweb, which I don't know why you really would, but if you get rid of Spiderweb, you could change your position. So stumbling, I believe you can't change positions. Like, you're stuck in that already. So just to keep something in mind. And I don't mean you can attack, get rid of Spiderweb, and then switch your position. I mean like in the next turn where you can't change your position. That's what I'm really talking about. Not really too much other to talk about. I mean, this is actually a really good deck. I recommend you try it. So yeah. So if you have any deck requests, make sure you leave them in the comment section down below. Make sure that you tell me what your thoughts are of this deck, because I always like to hear those. And yeah, tell me what you think. Do you like the deck? Did you not like how the deck looks? There'll be some videos. I plan on doing a dual hour with this deck. Call it Infestation Hour, something like that. Insect Hour or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But until then, I will catch you guys later. So yeah, make sure you let me know, guys. And I don't know if this is gonna be before or after Vylon, so yeah. And make sure you check out the Slender Let's Play for October. So yeah, I have a special deck in mind for October. Catch you guys later.